Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is a Muslimah's reflection. So today I wanted to discuss my post because I had shared it in the group and it kind of like baffled me a little bit that before you can even actually read everything, you're automatically just boom, this is my way and that's just it. You didn't even like we are taught in Islam, our deen is very vast. So there's various different approaches to understandings. That's why we have the four madhabs. They all agree on path of following the Quran and the Sunnah to come to their rulings and understanding, but they have what they call qiyas, individual deductive reasoning from the Quran and the Sunnah. How, right? Okay. Yeah. All right. So now I wanted to, and speaking of that, so I did a post speaking of the allegorical text in the Quran, where Allah Azza wa Jal himself says that these verses are allegorical, so don't take them literally, which means they're not to be taken literal. And only one that knows the meaning is Allah Azza wa Jal. That means human creation does not know the meaning of them. And so don't take it in a literal context. Now that brings me to my point of understanding two different doctrines and how they approach the allegorical text in the Quran. Now, terminology to me is important, but it's not important, right? Because the understanding is what's important. But since people like to use terminology for wordplay, I'm going to throw it out there for just a little bit. So, Sharia, we use a term called tanzih, which means we say that Allah Azza wa Jal is completely free of anything, any attributes, any likeness to his creation, whether it's a human, an object, whatever, it don't matter, a direction, a time, a moment, whatever, it don't matter, completely free, right? So the Wahhabiyya, their terminology is tasbih, which means, not to liken Allah Azza wa Jal to his creation, and tatil, to affirm the attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal. So they have just one extra terminology to define the wholeness of him being completely free and not like his creation, which is in Surah 42, Ayah 11. Allah Azza wa Jal said he's nothing like his creation. He's the all-seeing, the all-hearing, right? And so, that brings me to my point here in how we approach the allegorical text, right? I'm gonna try to make this really quick. I'm sorry. So Sharia, I'm gonna use one of the allegorical texts when they talk about yad, because that's the most famous one everybody talks about. Linguistically, Arabic terminology, when you translate the word yad, linguistically, the literal meaning is hand. It is also, and you know what else? A fun fact that I learned today, that it also means in Hebrew hand as well. So that means all around the linguistic literal meaning would be a limb, an organ, a body part. Follow me, right? You following me? Al-Sharia, when we get to the allegorical text, I'm not going to go with the terminology because I don't want to confuse people who are new to the deen. Because again, terms don't really matter. Understanding is important. So, Sharia, when we come to the allegorical text of the Quran, we either do one of two things. One, we recite them in the Arabic. So if it says yad, we say the word yad, yayidun, right? So we're going to say it that way, not stopping, not pausing, thinking of what could it be, not translating, leaving it in the Arabic and knowing with the understanding that the meaning of it is up to Allah Azza wa Jal, His Majesty, period, point blank. That's it. Or now the scholarly approach of Sharia, al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, is figuratively giving it a meaning. And what that means is figurative meanings are not literal meanings. They're two different things. Literal is not the same as figurative. Figurative, it could be literal means this is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Okay. So when Sharia decides to translate revelation that is in Arabic, because revelation is Arabic. Revelation is not English, it's not Urdu, it's not Japanese, it's not Chinese, it's not Mayanese. I just made up a language, I'm probably sure I did, but you get my point, right? Okay. The language, our revelation is Arabic. Arabic. Okay. So anyway, so when we translate it, it is translated as power, bounty, charity, right? Right? Okay, because we believe that Allah Azza wa Jal is completely free of likeness to his creation, which means he doesn't have organs, limbs, or body parts, right? But when we get to the explanation of the Wahhabiyya, when they talk about the term Yad, they state that Allah Azza wa Jal has two real hands, but they're not like ours. But your definition, when you speak, you say that you do tasbih and tatil, not affirming his attributes and not liking him to his creation. But if you say that Allah Azza wa Jal has two real hands, but not like ours, is that not liking Allah Azza wa Jal to his creation? Because you gave the word yad a literal meaning of hand instead of the figurative meaning, which is more befitting to his majesty. I'm done. Have a good day.